Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I'm your host tonight, Jim Delfino. Joining me tonight is Nick Face. Nick Face is basically the anti-Yankee. Yankee fans love to sit quietly in their $1,200 seats and clap politely for a blue single. Nick, he's a one-man riot squad. If he were a Yankee, he'd have been ejected from the Bronx years ago for screaming, "Swing the bat, you clown," at his own players. He hates losing so much that if he were in charge of the Yankees right now, the entire roster would already be on waivers, the Monument Park plaques would be repossessed, and Aaron Judge would be doing batting practice at Nick's backyard cage just to get his head right. Face doesn't just dislike losing, he treats it like a federal crime, and he's judge, jury, and Boone's executioner all rolled into one. And also joining me tonight is Nick Diamond. Nick Diamond, our Florida stat wizard, treats Yankees games like a NASA launch. He's over here with 3 laptops, a calculator watch, and enough charts to make Brian Cashman cry into his spreadsheets. Yankees fans brag about 27 rings. Nick's the guy who reminds them that half of those were before color television. Then pulls up a graph showing how their batting average in high leverage spots is currently lower than a middle school science fair project. He's so deep into the numbers that if Carlos Rodon throws a ball in the dirt, Nick doesn't just say bad pitch. He launches into a 6-minute TED Talk on Rodon's declining spin rate, his BABIP, and the statistical probability of his ERA ballooning faster than the Yankee Stadium beer prices. Let's get into it. Your Boston Red Sox are now 71-60, sitting 5 games behind the division-leading Blue Jays, who lost today to the Miami Marlins, and are still half a game up on the Yankees for the top wild card spot. So remember yesterday when the Sox turned Yankee Stadium into a Little League batting practice session and hung 12 runs to the Bronx Bombers? Yeah, apparently that was the entire week's supply of offense because tonight they looked like they left their bats in the hotel lobby. Dustin May took the ball and promptly lit it on fire. The guy gave up rockets like he was hosting the 4th of July. Chisholm Jr. and Grisham both went deep, and by the 5th inning, it was 5-0 Yankees. I've seen beer league softball pitchers with better command. And then there's Walker Buehler, the new guy in the bullpen who apparently thinks ace is short for absolutely can't execute. Every time he toes the rubber, Sox fans wonder if they should just grab a hot dog and wait for more bullpen help. The offense, they remembered how to score twice. A Nathaniel Lowe single in the 6th, plated Bregman and Gonzalez, but that was of the equivalent of putting a Hello Kitty Band-Aid on a chainsaw accident. Final score, Yankees 7, Sox 2, because Jazz Chisholm couldn't let anyone else with ISH in his name be the only one to hit 2 home runs tonight. The ongoing case of too many runs. This team has a special gift. Anytime they drop a dozen or so on someone, the next game they look like they couldn't hit water if it fell out of a boat. It's like they need to recharge their offense on a week-long nap after an explosion. One night, they're the 27 Yankees, and the next night, they're the 2023 A's. Yesterday, we had 12 runs. Fans were chanting, "Who's your daddy?" in the Bronx. Today, 2 runs, fans chanting, "Thanks for visiting." With Halloween coming up in October, we might as well have Dustin May dress up as a dumpster fire. And then there's Walker Buehler, our $20 million man, who looks like he left his dignity in Los Angeles. Nick Face, I want to start with you tonight with our typical segment, Nick Face's Word of the Day.
And now it's time for Nick Face's Word of the Day.
Tonight's word of the day is, anybody drum roll? Anybody want? I want to get you in suspense here a little bit. Word of the day here tonight is garbage. That's all I got for tonight. Garbage. I mean, coming into this, you kind of expected it with Dustin May. He's had glimpse of decent. He's had glimpse of eh. The biggest thing with him is I'm just never overly satisfied. I look at him and I look at like Nick Pavetta as I used to do. It's like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of situation. One night you might get something great. The other night you might get something mediocre. The other you'll just get a big pile of crap. Well, tonight the garbage was in full effect, especially with Walker Buehler having his first appearance out of the bullpen tonight. That was fun. And this game was one of those getaway games. Put the B squad in. Don't care. We won the series anyways. Took 3 of 4. I personally wasn't expecting a win here tonight. I was correct on that. I think you guys probably were in the same predicament. We'll probably talk about it. Look, this goes back to your trade deadline. It goes back to that. And it goes back to how you failed at improving your team. We saw tonight some big drastic differences in not getting the job done versus woulda, coulda, shoulda. And I hate playing that game because you have one particular player who I want fired off into the next county as fast as possible. That's Jarren Duran, who was your prized player. You can't trade him for Joe Ryan. Can't trade him to the Padres to get something of the effect. Then you have Dustin May, where the Sox could have very well have potentially had, again, a Joe Ryan type, a Merrill Kelly, a Charlie Morton type, versus a Dustin May, who, again, he was thrown out in the streets in LA because the Dodgers didn't want him anymore. They told him to go home. We're all set. We don't want you. And then your big hyped guy from this offseason coming in. Oh, yeah, he's going to be great. This new reclamation project, he's going to be awesome. Walker Buehler. Can't wait. He's going to be exactly as you expect he was from the Dodgers. Well, once again, the Dodgers are laughing hysterically in the Red Sox face because their trash turns into our junk pile. It's just, it is what it is with them. So, I'm not overly mad. I don't like to lose, as we all know, but this was one of those expected ones. I know we're going to get into the next series upcoming, which is the Orioles, who just kicked our you-know-whats at Fenway Park. I'm not feeling hot on it. I'm not, but we'll get into that when we get there. So, hope you like the garbage tonight, because it was a hot, steaming pile of it.
Nick Dime, I'd like to get your reactions to tonight's game. And, are you disappointed in the fact that we didn't sweep, or are you content in the fact that we took the series?
We'll start off with Dustin May. He was flat out horrible. Lots of hard contact, 4 home runs, a couple bombs off Trent Grisham, I know he's got 25 home runs now this season, but is he a guy you give up home runs to? I don't think so. He just was pathetic tonight, Dustin May. Like Nick Face said, it was a failure at the deadline. We can also talk about Walker Buehler, but if he's on this roster much longer, it's kind of pathetic too. There's better options in the minor leagues. There's better options out there. I'd rather have Rich Hill at this point, to be honest. I know we've had Rich Hill 6 times, 7 times at this point, but Rich Hill is probably a better competitor. He's going to get guys out. He's left-handed. He does, I don't know, something about the 89, 88, 87 mile per hour fastball is better than Walker Buehler's 93, 94 mile per hour slop that's right down the middle. So I'd have those two guys, like you said, the Dodgers gave them up. They wanted nothing to do with those guys anymore, and I think it's wrong to take guys that the Dodgers don't want anymore. They're smarter than you. So, yeah, you're asking if I'm disappointed, a little bit. I mean, I would like to have swept, especially the day the Blue Jays lost. I'm disappointed, but coming into the series, I expected a split, so I can't be too upset. But I am a little disappointed. Romy Gonzalez has been slumping lately. This is against a left-handed hitter. I expected more out of him. The password kind of looked overmatched all series. No hits for him, just a few walks. So not overly impressed for him yet. So it's a little bit of annoyed that we lost this series. I lost the series finale, but Carlos Rodon's been pretty good, but Nate Eaton in the 5-hole. It's just a little bit of a punt lineup, so I think we all expected this loss.
Yeah, see, these are the type of games that hopefully we don't look back on in, the end of September and October and say what could have been. And I harp on this quite a bit on this podcast and on Twitter because too many people will try to, turn lemonade out of lemons and say, oh, well, in April it's too early, and then, you won the series. There's guys on a lot of the radio stations. Oh, that's okay. You won the series, but if you smell blood, you got to go for it. The problem with Alex Cora, and we'll get into that in our dugout dipshits segment tonight. But I was really annoyed with the lineup. I was annoyed that you've got Nate Eaton, a journeyman. I don't even know if I want to call him an infielder or an outfielder, but a journeyman guy who just was brought back up to the major leagues, who was summoned to the minors because he didn't know how to play third base when he was here in his prior stint, is now all of a sudden been your DH. He's been your leadoff guy, and now he's in the heart of the order as your number 5 hitter. Look, I understand Abreu is hurt, and I understand that Ref Schneider is hurt. But I just look at that lineup and I say to myself, you've got to be kidding me. And of course, I was right, because in the first inning, he comes up with runners on. He pops up in foul play at first. So, I mean, this is one of those situations where you are putting yourself in a position to lose when you pull crap like this. And if you want to put some sort of crazy lineup together like that, when you've got a guy like Crochet going, or Bayo, or even Lucas Giolito, that's fine. But when you're going to have the back end mop up of your rotation that's going to be, pitching that night, you almost have to have your best possible lineup going, and that's not what Alex Cora did tonight. And that's why they deserve to lose, because this is an Alex Cora loss, in my opinion, more so than anything else. And he drives me crazy when this happens. Your comment on Walker Buehler, I just want to give my take on him. I don't understand how this guy can make September. I really don't. He's been obviously summoned out of the rotation. He's lost his job in the rotation. Your first outing of his in the bullpen, and he vomits all over himself yet again. 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 1/3 innings, and 2 strikeouts and a walk. I mean, you just can't do that as a reliever. You can't even do that as a starter. So I don't know how much longer the leash is with Walker Buehler, but I'll tell you, with guys like Peyton Tolley in the minor leagues, and some of the other guys that we're kind of high on, I don't understand how much longer your $20 million Walker Buehler can survive the rest of this season, because he's only going to hurt you more than he's going to help you. And that's the bottom line. Moving right along, I want to talk a little bit about Jarren Duran. Nick, you and I were talking about this a little bit in the chat and so forth. Duran today 0 for 3 with a walk, 2 strikeouts. He's batting .221 in August after .317 in July. Is he just slowing down? Is he getting tired? Or is he just not really as productive as a player as he once was? Nick Face, I'll start with you on that one.
Parents, if you have your children around, make sure they have earplugs or earphones in, because it's going to get a little nasty right now. So just want to give you the forewarning here. Jarren Duran sucks. Okay, plain and simple, sucks. I am so fed up with him. He is the number 1 player I'm most fed up with on this team this season. Last season is so far in the distance from what he did last season to what he is now. Truthfully, he's a platoon player. If you look at his numbers and you look at what he's producing, he has no business being in the lineup against a left-handed pitcher. Jim, what did you have the stat? He's hitting .203. Is that correct?
I'll look it back up again while you're talking.
Even against right-handed pitching, his at-bat tonight that he took 3 pitches and had no ounce of contact, no ounce of anything to do with his at-bat when he was up there. And it was a great situation you were in.
201 against left-handed. Nick,
201.
201 against left-handed pitching, 288 against right-handed pitching.
I'm going to come at you with another stat here, too. I was going back and forth on Twitter X tonight with some real imbeciles tonight. And there's going to be a whole segment later dedicated to you dipshits of the night, because it's ridiculous to have somebody come at me and say, oh, well, in runners in scoring position, Jarren Duran's hitting .310. Cut the crap. What are you watching on your television screen? You're watching a player who has no business being up in a situation like this, never mind being in major leagues, to get the job done. I am so sick of it with him. He has the wheels of the century, and you still continue to think that you can hit the ball out of the yard every time with your swing. Make a goddamn adjustment with your bat. Drive the ball down the left side. Bunt. Wheel it out. It is not helping the team one iota with you swinging for the fences on your damn launch angle when you strike out. He's going to probably hit the 200 mark on the season for strikeouts this season. But here are Jarren Duran's leverage situation statistics brought to you by Baseball Reference. If you haven't been to that site, I highly recommend it. It's outstanding. High leverage. He is batting .224 on the season with 24 strikeouts. That includes tonight's. Medium leverage. That includes a .272 average, 66 strikeouts. What I'm surprised with, too, here is slugging percentage. I want to give you that, too. So slugging for high leverage, he's hitting slugging percentage is .294. Medium leverage, once again, I said it was .272. His slugging, .469. His on-base percentage is .332. Low leverage, .259. Basically what he's hitting this season. His on-base percentage is .345, and his slugging percentage is .482. I don't know you guys, and 45 strikeouts in low leverage situations too. So he's getting up there on the strikeout numbers big time. By the time the season ends, you better not be hitting about 200 for that strikeout number, because that's going to be fireable into the sun if it gets to that point. He's had too many opportunities, guys, and I think that's the biggest thing here. I know what else you're going to do with what you got. I understand it. But it doesn't help the situation when Alex Cora, against right-handed pitching, throws Duran in the 3 spot. Tonight, what was he batting? 7th?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was 7th, right? Yeah.
His glove this season has been suspect too. I feel like we have to hold our breath sometimes in center field or left field. I think he's close to about 10 errors combined between the two positions as well too. This has been a terrible. I know some people are going to say, "Oh, it's not that bad." In my eyes, compared to what you saw last season, you can't count on Jarren Duran, and that is a big reason why this team is like a seesaw. And case in point, tonight is another reason why you couldn't get the complete job done. Would have been great to sweep, but you didn't. You take 3 or 4.
Nick Diamond, a similar question to you. Your thoughts on Jarren Duran and his slumping as the second half evolves?
Well, I think it was pretty obvious he was never going to replicate last season. Last season was a once-in-a-lifetime type of season. It reminded me of the 2011 Jacoby Ellsbury, where he came second in MVP. In my opinion, he should have won MVP. I don't think pitchers deserve MVPs unless they're absolutely special. In that season, I don't think Justin Verlander was that impressive to get the MVP as a pitcher. But as I think there's a lot of criticism you can give to Jarren Duran too, because the first one I've always wanted to say is he has not been stealing bags lately, and that's a lot of his value is the ability to take extra bases, steal bases. He hasn't been stealing bases in a long time. I feel like he even did that last year where he opened up the season stealing a lot, and then he kind of tailed off at the end. He's completely tailed off now. He hasn't stolen a base in a while, it feels like. And another takeaway between what Nick Face said, it's kind of like there's a big difference between runners in scoring position and a clutch stat, high leverage or low leverage kind of stats, because runners in scoring position can easily be Jarren Duran hitting 310 or whatever it was when they're up by 10 runs with runners on second base and second, third base. And that's why his runners in scoring position stats are good. But that's not high leverage. That's low leverage. It's not a high leverage position. 2 outs, tight game, late innings, that's high leverage. And that's where Jarren Duran has not really come up tonight or even all season. The at-bat right after Nate Lowe drove in 2 runs where he had a 1-1 count, and then he let like a fastball right down the middle go by him. That's where it had to happen. After that, it was all over. And those are the decisions that he was making last year, where he was being aggressive in those 1-1 counts, not falling behind. Once he got to 1-2 with the Rodon lefty slider, he was cooked. It was just done. He had no chance. So, yeah, there's a lot of criticism to put on Duran. Realistically, he's probably a DH. He should be the DH. The Red Sox won't put him out there because I think they want to trade him in the offseason. But if you want to put the best lineup on the field, it should be Jarren Duran at the DH spot, Roman Anthony in left field, Ceddanne Rafael in center field. And once Willie Abreu's back, he should be in right field. So I think that's the real reason why they're not putting him out there, is because they want to keep as much value and trade him in the offseason.
Well, to your point, Nick Diamond, if you look at the monthly statistics of Jarren Duran's stolen bases, he stole 10 bases in April and March, the combination month, 10 stolen bases. May, 3 stolen bases. 3. June, 2 stolen bases. 2 stolen bases in June. 3 in July, and so far 3 in August. So you hit the nail on the head. He's definitely not being as aggressive, and he has no caught stealings since May. So he is just not even going. And a lot of people might say, well, he's stretching the singles into doubles and so forth. He's not. If you look at the Jarren Duran when he came up in 23, I think it was, when what's his face went on the injury from the forearm injury. Can't think of his name right now. And then all of last year, especially the beginning of 24, you saw an aggressive Jarren Duran on the bases. You saw him stretch singles into doubles at an alarming rate where it was almost video game-like. You are just not seeing that out of Jarren Duran this year at all. And
you know what another big stat is too, Jim? What you mentioned the doubles, but what about the triples guys? I mean, this was somebody that was flashing on the on the bags and banging out triples left and right. We aren't even seeing that because you're not seeing consistent contact. You're just not. His biggest asset are his legs. Why they aren't getting used, I don't know. It is such a mystery to me. I don't know if this is because of Red Sox philosophical issues and things with the bat, but it is so glaring and so ridiculous that it has to be discussed here. We have to talk about that.
Well, I think the other thing too, Nick, is that, for a leadoff guy, he doesn't really have a very high on-base percentage. 335 this year, 342 last year. He's definitely regressing in all his offensive categories. Slugging is down 50 points. His OPS is down 60 points. His OPS plus is down 20 points. So, I mean, every statistical category that you're looking at has been down. The only thing that is still on par, believe it or not, is his triples. He had 14 last year. He's got 12 this year. So he's kind of consistent there. But the power numbers are down. The home runs are down. There's no way he's going to hit 20 home runs this year with the amount of time that's left, I don't believe. And he had 34 stolen bases last year. He's got 21 this year. I just don't see him, cracking the 30 mark, especially the way that he's stealing 2 or 3 bags a month now. It's just not going to happen with him. So, I think they do have to look at moving him. He's a guy that doesn't have a long-term solution or part of this team in going forward. I think he's a free agent. He's arbitration eligible in 26, free agent in 29. I mean, he's 28 his last year. So with 3 more seasons, 26, 27, 28, if that's the case, they're not going to sign him to a long-term deal. If he gets hurt and he loses his wheels, he's really not going to carry enough offensively to make him a worthwhile long-term investment. So I think this is the year. They should have moved him last year, to be honest with you, right after that, all-star season. That was the time to move Jarren Duran. This offseason is going to be a little bit tougher. His stock has really gone down. Nick, go ahead.
The question I want to ask to both of you guys here is over the long-term play here with Duran. The Red Sox have a big decision to make, obviously. Is he a part of the future? Is he tradable? What are they going to do? The biggest concern here for me on Duran is his mental ability. I personally don't think Duran can make it here in Boston. I don't. I look at Duran as a classic guy that would be perfect with the Tampa Rays, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Arizona Diamondbacks, somewhere where us fans, we're honest, we're brutal, we're ruthless, we call it as we see, we understand that. So are we doing a disservice because we're all over Duran, like say right now? Are we doing a disservice to him because all it's going to do is do a tailspin and make him get out of control and never produce again? That's what that's kind of where I'm at with, am I being too critical? Am I being not nice? I keep thinking about that in the back of my mind because I do want Durant to succeed. I think the two of you guys want that too. We want him to use his skill sets perfectly to help win games and get this team into the playoffs. I mean, plain and simple. So I think about that. I don't know if you guys think about that, but I do.
I mean, to your point, and then Nick Diamond, you can chime in. My thing with Jaron Duran, and the first part of your concern was, his ability to make it in this market. You've seen a lot of signs with Jaron Duran having arguments with fans. He had another, off-colored,
When
cursing
it was Wednesday. Yep.
Wednesday. So the point of the matter is, I can understand that there's a difference between wanting to be upset that you're not performing the way you should, and you have to be able to contain yourself when you are in the public eye the way he is, because that's the other thing that, like, Alex Verdugo had a little bit of an issue with as well. These kind of like guys that can get set off too quickly, too easily, and not stay within themselves. And they're going to just continue to bury themselves in both offense and defense, and just their chemical makeup. And I worry too that if he continues to have struggles and he continues to have people name call or bash him, that he's going to take it to a whole nother level. And I'm not sure if the Red Sox want that to be, something that they're embracing, or they're looking to say, we don't want that anymore. I mean, if they can move Rafael Devers for various reasons of not playing first and being sort of a cancer in the dugout and so forth, then they can move anybody. Nick Diamond, what's your thoughts on this?
I think offensively, this is just who he is. I think he's like a 250 batting average, 15 to 20 homer, 30 steal, 780 OPS guy, and it's just not worth to keep him around at that point. His defense has been bad. If he was the defender he was last year, where he was an elite defender in left field and center field, he might be worth it kind of with his personality to keep him around. But with that offensive profile that I just described, he's not a superstar. He's not worth it. You might as well, with that other outfielders you have on this team, he's the odd man out. I kind of was the guy to support keeping him this year. I think you couldn't lose another offensive bat after you traded Rafael Devers. But as long as they keep Alex Bregman, you can trade Jaron Duran this offseason. And I don't know how much value he really has, but I think it's something you're going to have to do. Because like you said, I don't know if he fits here long term.
Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't, and he is arbitration eligible at the end of this season. So, again, it's one of those things.
He did come to a 2-year deal at the beginning of last year with the Red Sox. So his salary's they already know his salary. It's like 4-point-something million.
You're right. There is a 26 team option. My mistake. Yeah. But all right. So that might even be a little bit better for another team that might be wanting to take a flyer on Jaron Duran. The problem is, though, is that you're not trading from a position of strength with Jaron Duran unless you're going to include something else, whether that be a Marcelo Meyer or, maybe even the password or whatever that might include to try to get someone of value. The thing about it, though, is that, like I said earlier, last offseason was the time to move him.
Breaking news.
Yes. Go ahead.
Bernardino will be your starter tomorrow for the Red Sox. Fucking Jesus.
Bernardino, who was in tonight's game.
So why was Kyle?
You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me, guys.
Wow.
Why? You got Kyle Harrison scratched. You could put Fitz in there. Hell, I would have been fine if you just tried Bueller. You are a loser organization if you do the frickin' opener bullshit. I'm sorry, you are. I'm sorry that I'm mad. That is ridiculous. The guy just vanished for 3 weeks. Oh yeah, you're just going to open now in Baltimore. It is unacceptable.
Yeah, really strange, especially when I mean, what was his final line tonight? Was it 2 innings? One and a third, two strikeouts. It just doesn't make a lot of sense the way Alex Cora is managing this season. It just doesn't. It's something about the. I don't know if he's just not into it. I just don't know if it's he's checked out. He already had a comment that 2 weeks ago, and we didn't bring it up on the podcast that he was kind of almost given like the roster is the roster explanation again, and I just there's just something that's just a little bit off with him this season. I don't know if you guys see it, but I just certainly do. Um,
Checked out.
yeah, another piece of news today. Abraham Toro, for all you Toro fans, has cleared waivers and accepted assignment to Worcester. We did check on this a little bit. I'll just get 30 seconds from each of you on Abraham Toro. Nick Diamond, you first, please.
I think it's good that he cleared waivers. I didn't really think he would go to another team, to be honest. I think he's been bad lately, but it's just insurance with Meyer out for the season, just in case Bregman has to go down again. It's at least a body that you could trust out there that knows the guys on the team, won't be a completely new guy. So I think it's good that he cleared waivers. He accepts the assignment, but it's nothing like groundbreaking. It's not going to do anything. Hopefully it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree. Nick Face?
I'm really stunned that none of the league took a waiver on him. I really am. He did a serviceable job for you, especially May and June. I know he hasn't been great, July into August, but serviceable guy, switch hitter, can play multiple positions. Why didn't anybody else in the league want him? Can't be money related. This is a blessing. It's more depth. If rosters expand, that could be an option. I hope they have other choices, obviously, but it's an option. It's never a bad thing to have depth.
No, it's not. I mean, in the unlikely event that, Nathan Lau gets hurt or, if Bregman should have a little bit of something going on with his quad or calf again, at least, you got somebody there that you could bring up and have a little bit more confidence in than you would someone like Nate Eaton. Moving right along, just check the chats. Perfect one here from Guano. Former Dodgers pitchers are the garbage of our team.
I'll send him a Christmas card.
Yeah, Nick Diamond brought this up before, and I've said it on the podcast before. When you acquire ex-Dodgers pitchers from a team that is World Series bound and has World Series aspirations, if they don't want the guy, what does that tell you? James Paxton, Dustin May, Walker Buehler. What does that really tell you when those situations come up? Guano also says, I would rather have Nick Sogard instead of Eaton. I have to agree with that. How come Nick Sogard hasn't been getting another chance here? He can play all the infield positions. He could probably play the outfield a little bit too. He looked okay with the bat. Why is Nate Eaton the guy that's being brought up as opposed to Nick Sogard? I can't figure that one out for the life of me. Eric says you need to get on a base to steal bags. He keeps striking out, especially with runners in scoring position. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, he's just not. We're talking about Duran. He's not the offensive player that he was last year, and you could see he's kind of slumping, and maybe he's getting tired towards the end of the season, which is not something we need if we are going to have a postseason experience. It's just the bottom line. That said, we are going to move to our other segment, and here we go.
And now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the Dugout Dipshits.
Dugout Dipshits time, and we've got a couple of them today to go over. The first one is going to be a conversation I had regarding the lineup, and this was with Nate Eaton. We talked about this earlier today, batting fifth, and I said, why is Nate Eaton batting fifth? If you are a World Series or playoff with aspirations to play in the playoffs, you do not have a guy like Nate Eaton batting fifth. And Tim McDermott's response was, because Cora said so. Live with it. I don't even know what the hell that means. Nick Face, is that in English? Can you kind of give me a diagnosis on that?
I was wondering if you had a bad patient last week at your practice.
I mean,
That's basically what that statement kind of says to me. Here's the ironic thing: we're in the verge here of Rob Refsnyder, William Abreu, Justin Slayton, all getting this could be cleared to be coming to this team very shortly. So Nate Eaton, you're going to be out of here, but yet you're good enough to bat fifth and play center field tonight against the Yankees. I really think that there should be a case study from somebody from Harvard that just does a brain, just whole test on Alex Cora or the Red Sox organization as a whole to come up with some of these whacked out lineup and decisions that are made sometimes, because it scares me. It scares me at times. Like that tonight, Jim, you had full reign to be able to post that up there. You beat me to the punch. I didn't get on in time to see it. That was great. It should have been discussed. It's a very valid question. Any of the media buffoons out there gonna ask? How about Max Cerullo, Chris Cotillo, all of you? Did you ask Cora why? Did you? Or did you run away with your tail between your legs back to your little cubicle to write your next article? Is that what you did?
You know, Nick, I could never be on the beat like that, because when Alex Cora says stuff and he repeats himself, I would just tell him to go F off and answer the question. But that's me. I don't, I'd probably get fired, but I don't take shit. I really
me
just
too.
don't. I'm the professor of harsh reality, my friends. I mean, I say it how it is. If you don't like it, there's the door. Don't let it hit in your ass. That's all I got to say about that. But if you are a championship team, Nate freaking Eaton he's not on my team, number one. He's not playing center field, to your point, Nick, in New York. I don't know. The other day they said Roman Anthony may have been sick. Well, if he was good enough to DH in the last game and he's good enough to DH in this game, why isn't he out there in the outfield? This is just an egregious thing, and it's more of Cora being a schmuck as far as I'm concerned. I can't stand the way he manages his lineup. I can't stand the way he manages his bullpen. That's just the way it is, and that's the bottom line. Next guy, that's dugout dipshit number 2, is Job Goddard. His response was, you take pressure off struggling players knowing you'll pinch hit in this spot. So my response to him was, if you're filling out a lineup card and you're basing that lineup on who you're going to pinch hit in the lineup, don't make the lineup. That's ridiculous. That is a really silly comment, because, again, you're making that lineup and saying, well, he's going to be the first guy I'm going to pinch hit for. So what are you going to do? Put Yoshida in there, and then you're going to have Story, Yoshida, and Duran? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So, you know what, Job, I love you, but I don't know what the hell that was all about. Last but not least, Nick, this is your boy. Ballpark bust.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Oh, man. So I put up a frozen picture of Jarren Duran saying, this is Jarren Duran live look after that, looking at that pitch to end the threat when you were in somewhat of a comeback stage at 5-2. Ballpark Yutz comes out. I said it. Ballpark Buzz comes at me and he says, well, he's hitting .310 with runners in scoring position. So naturally, those sorts of things don't sit well with me. So we're going back and forth. And then finally, Daniel Fox actually came into the chat and put up the high leverage statistics, which we already kind of went off with Duran, with how he's doing overall when it's high leverage, medium leverage, and low leverage. So all in all, Ballpark Buzz just loves to engage. I'll just keep it nice. He loves to engage. He loves to think that he's the Lord and Savior at times, and he's not even from Boston. He's not. I know he roots for the team, and I got along with him fine when I was with the other pod back in the day. Did I mention I like this pod better? Oh, sorry. But overall, I will say that it's comical when you root for mediocrity. It's comical when you root for striking out, and you look at those things and say, oh, we'll get him next time. It's okay. We'll just tap him up, a little pat on the back. He'll get him next time. Don't worry. It's okay if we lose today. It's okay. No big deal. That's his mentality. That's his MO. If you want to add on anything else, Jim, go ahead.
When he was with the Night Guys on that podcast, I used to listen to him at night before going to bed so that I could get a good night's rest. That being said, I want to finish off with final takes, and let's start that off with the Baltimore series. So we have the Orioles for 4. So as Nick Face mentioned, we got Bernardino against Sagano tomorrow. Giolito is on Tuesday, Brian Bayo on Wednesday, and then Garrett Crochet on Thursday. 4-game series. Nick Diamond, how you think this is going to go?
Well, we don't get Trevor Rogers, so that's pretty good. He pitched today. He was dominant again. I don't think we win tomorrow. Just putting that out there. I know we face Sugano again, which is kind of an advantage for us. But Brendan Bernardino and Richard Fitz as the bulk guy, I don't have a lot of faith in those two. I mean, I like Bernardino, but he threw a lot of pitches today. He's going to be expected to pitch tomorrow. I know why they're starting him. It's just for Gunnar Henderson, to get through Gunnar Henderson, and I think they go to Dick Fitz. But, yeah, I think they'd lose game 1. Let's hope they win with the Bayo and the Crochet start. A split is what I'm going to say. I expect more than that against the Orioles right now, though. So I think they get a split. I'll be disappointed in a split. If they don't take 3, it'll be disappointed.
Nick Face, your closing thoughts on the Orioles series.
If you dial the tape back when the series was upcoming last week, and I said, yeah, Baltimore's going to sweep the Red Sox at Fenway Park. I know there was some stunning, did he just say that? I did say that. This time, I actually think, because it's a 4-game set and because you don't have Trevor Rogers going up, you also had, may I remind you, Dustin May and Walker Buehler were your 2 starters that last 2 series, Monday, Tuesday last week. That's also why I went with that. This is a little bit kind of better. Obviously, Bernardino throwing tomorrow. He's going to probably throw an inning. I still hate it. I hate openers. I think it's so stupid. It should not happen. It should be banned. Fitz should just at least start. I get the Gunnar Henderson thing. I get it. But what about your 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th inning? Is that not important either? So I look at that way. I don't think they win tomorrow. Nope, I don't. I think Richard Fitz coming out of the pen is going to be interesting, meaning that it's probably going to be not great. I'm not expecting something where he's going to come in and dominate from innings 2 through 6. Say if he gets through that, he'll probably give up 4, 5 runs. It's going to be a matter of if this offense can wake the heck up and get the job done. I think we forgot to also mention that this was so predictable tonight with the Red Sox winning 12-1 yesterday and then not even being able to do anything with the bats again tonight. Do you see the pattern, folks? Do you see where this comes from? We're on a stretch now where you don't know what you're going to get right now from the offense. So they could go to sleepy land the next 2-3 nights, and we could be screaming, where are the bats? Where are they? Is anybody going to step in? I think I feel okay with the Giolito start on Tuesday. Obviously with Bayo as well, I feel fine with that and Crochet. My biggest question here is not the pitching. It is the offense. What can you do? This is a Baltimore team that's been playing a little bit better. They have been. They had a bad start to the season, and then they started to click and get a little bit better. So you need to at least bare minimum split. If you don't take 2 of 4, and you want to talk about playoffs, I'll be really disappointed in you.
Yeah, very good point. I have a lot of confidence in the Crochet start. I mean, it looks right now, Tuesday and Wednesday, according to ESPN.com, the Orioles don't even have a projected starter for either one of those games. So we'll see how that goes. I do worry about tomorrow's game. So I'm going to go for a split as well. I'd like to take 3 out of 4. It kind of really depends on Giolito there as well. I mean, you got three starters that you'd like to hopefully have a lot of confidence in, but Nick Face, to your point, it's all about the offense and what they're going to do there. And I also don't know, when guys like Abreu are going to be coming back, and maybe the password gets sent down, or maybe he's in this series and maybe they can start seeing some offense out of him. Nick Diamond, go ahead.
I think it's weird that they scratched Kyle Harrison and then they didn't call him up when he's scheduled to pitch tomorrow. He was scheduled to pitch today, but he can easily pitch tomorrow. I think there's a non-0% chance that Peyton Tolley is called up and scratched for his next start, which I think would be the Garrett Crochet day. So maybe they'd put him as the starter after Crochet if that's the guy they want to insert into the rotation. So just the thought maybe that they chose Tolley over Harrison, but I'm still surprised that they would scratch Harrison and then not choose to start him today or tomorrow.
So you're saying you think Crochet might get bumped, or you think
it could be Crochet bumped, or they could just put Tolley as the next day, because I think that would be what the Walker Buehler spot in the rotation again, or Bernardino's spot coming up again.
Well, if they
It would be
bump
Dustin May. It would be Dustin.
yeah,
May.
if they bump Crochet to Friday, you would have Crochet against Paul Skeens.
That would be
that
awesome.
would be a game to go see. That
Yep.
would be awesome. Nick Face, I'm just going to finish with a comment that you made about openers. A team like the Red Sox, with the resources they have, the money, they should not have to deal with openers in these kind of games. The opener concept, for everybody, just to kind of remind you, was a Tampa Bay Rays concept. And part of that reason is because the Tampa Bay Rays don't have money. They can't attract really good starters that can go 7 innings on a nightly basis and make 32 starts a season. So because they've always had really good bullpens, and when I say really good, it's because they bring up guys, they have them throw their arms out, they get Tommy John, and they kick them to the curb. That's how they run their bullpen. And so that's what they would do. They would bring these guys in as openers because they needed to grab a couple innings and then go from there. And the rest of baseball said, hey, this is pretty cool. We all want to be the Rays. If the Rays can do it, we can do it. Mm-hmm. And so then a lot of teams started doing it. Here's the thing that I'll leave everybody with tonight. The Tampa Bay Rays have made the most starts in 2025 than any other team out of their 5 starters. The most starts. So they have gone against their own opener ideal. How about that one? Have a great night, everybody. We will see you tomorrow night, and hopefully we can turn this one game long.